Holiness is travelling, ladies and gentlemen. He is travelling within the venue and he's headed our way. So it's very important that we get this done before we see him on stage with us. And Ian Thorpe. Did you know the Thorpedos in the house? Yeah. I know, random, but great. Awesome. So they are both travelling our way, but firstly we need to, acknowledge the traditional owners of this patch of Australia that we're standing on. And we have a lovely lady, a songwoman, who is here to perform a Welcome to Country for us. Her name is Maruchi. She's from the Turrbal people. Ladies and gentlemen, please make her very welcome.
Davai kari buja manda barista Mariana men manda barista Mariana men Mada payava nyin yung anala Manda barista Mariana men Manda barista Mariana men Manda barista Mariana men Manda barista Mariana men Garinina nami chuchama bironu Garinina nami chuchama bironu Garinina nami chuchama bironu Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. That felt fantastic. I'd like to walk out to that every day, and I know that you're all very excited to be able to share in His Holiness's wisdom, so I won't take long here, and we can bring him out as soon as possible. I had the pleasure of spending the day with him yesterday, and he is an incredible man. This is someone who's committed their life to peace and the betterment of humanity. He's not only a religious leader for some, he is one of the true leaders of the world. He's a global figure. He's one of the most recognizable people on the planet. And all of this from the good work that he's done throughout the world. Whether it be starting an interfaith dialogue, continuing it to this day. He was at a cathedral yesterday where he was brilliant, and he was very deserving of winning a Nobel Peace Prize in 1989. And I also think that quite possibly he is one of the coolest, almost 80-year-olds in the world. So without further ado, yes, I see His Holiness. I welcome His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. Okay. Would you like to speak first? Would you like to speak?
Brothers and sisters, I always, express brothers, sisters. Because they basically, truly we are brothers, sisters. Actually, 7 billion human beings are truly human brothers, sisters. I think children, at a young age, not much sort of consider importance of what religious faith, what sort of nationality, what color, or rich and poor, or high position, or ordinary people. Children do not care. I think now should, how to say?
Perhaps we need another life.
No, not another life. I mean, you see, we now already old. Now we should start from young age of thinking. I think that's very important, I feel. Reason. Too many problems which we are facing. Some of the problem is by nature, like old age, some pain, some sickness. Myself now, you say some pain. Yeah. So recently, I met one German specialist for knees. And he checked my body, and he says, you see, my body condition is very good, excellent. Now you see this, regarding this problem, he mentioned, you are not 18 years old, but 80 years old. So now it is quite natural, cannot do much. You see the body situation now go this way. So these are sort of natural things. And here also, you see, much depend on your mental attitude. If mental attitude, too much sort of concern, my knees, like that. And then on top of physical sort of pain or problem, the mentally increasing. According to the German physician's advice, when I realize or I accept I'm an old person, now the body condition, now time come, already started, go that way, then there is something, natural process. One is mentally accept that. No more sort of, frustration or anxiety, isn't it? Then the point is, and besides nature disaster, many problems, actually, our own creation, including these as a violence. And it is quite sad. The scientist who, and also the technology person who involve technology, they are really brilliant mind. She produce wonderful missions, wonderful sort of technological things, missions. But then we use these things used for killing, used to create more suffering. I think like those of the first generation who develop, they find nuclear fusion or something. So then, that used for destruction. Sad. So all these man-made problems. So a lot of problem. I think this very moment we enjoy here, big hall, completely peace and relax. But this very moment, and I myself, I have very good lunch, so feel very happy. But the same sort of human being on this same planet, some really facing starvation. Those refugees are there. Those refugees, a Burmese refugee, Bangladeshi refugee, and then Africa, Northern Africa, and the Arab area. And then these also is caused by our own sort of wrong action. Then actually through violence, killing, this very moment, life is precious. It grows from first day birth, then next several years, you see, gradually grown up with immense affection or care by parent and mother. That precious life instantly killed. So this really, and then worst thing, in the name of religious faith, cow killing. Unthinkable. All major world religious tradition, their main message or main practice is love. All major religious tradition is the real sort of source of message of love. That very factor now used for killing. Unthinkable. So all this, I consider, you see, we too much emphasis on the secondary level of differences, including religious faith, and the different countries, different nationality. Now, actually, time has come. Now, due to also the global warming or these things, and also the global economy, now national boundary is not important. And then also, now, is it the religious, differences of religious faith, also not much irrelevant in the terms of humanity. So, therefore, I always is trying to sort of share people. We really need sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. That's very, very important. This is not just because of the moral thing, but it is something practically, it is really necessary, very relevant. Once we consider the others, also same human being, they also have every right to live, to achieve happy life. If we really develop using that strong sense of oneness of humanity, then killing impossible, no matter what the differences. So therefore, now really, you see, time comes. We have to make effort to promote sameness, oneness of 7 billion human beings. So whenever I give talk, I always refer brothers, sisters. So actually we mentally, emotionally, physically, we are same. And then more important, all 7 billion human beings want happy life. Even including limitless sort of different sentient beings want a happy life. And everyone try to survive themselves. So that means they love their life. So therefore, now, irrespective whether believer or non-believer, you see, now we have to think oneness, sameness, oneness of entire human being. Then, in order to build happy humanity, Then each nation, each community have the responsibility. Firstly, build your own community, healthy community, and then further extend healthy nation, then healthy continent, then healthy world. In practical level, we can't build humanity or happy humanity, or say this is just a word. Healthy, in order to build healthy humanity, step by step. First step, your own family, your own community, then your own nation, then continent, then whole world. I think if someone say, oh, that is impossible, all past religious sort of leaders always talk entire sentient being, but never achieve that. I think answer is, ancient time, it's very difficult to communicate each other. And also the reality, ancient nation, ancient time, you see different nation, they sort of some kind of self-sufficient. So their future not depend on other. Today's world economy, global warming, now that reality gone. Ancient times, each nation self-sufficient. According to that sort of reality, then concept of war start, or destroy your neighbor as an enemy. That's victory of yourself. Now, today's world, not that, not like that. Destroy your neighbor is actually destruction of your own sort of economy, your own future. So everything interrelated. Then communication, mainly education. So now we have education, it's a universal level. So through education, we can make awareness, make clear today's reality. Now, according to today's reality, we need sense of global responsibility on the basis of conviction. We are same. Future of the world depend on humanity. So like that, if humanity, like today, continuously, violence, killing each other, bully each other, and within nation, huge gap, rich and poor, and exploitation or corruption. How can build happy humanity? How can be happy humanity? Whenever we open newspaper, bad news always there. If you have no sort of sense of others' well-being, then okay, just amusement, or some people killed, or 100 people suffer something, just like that. But if you have the feeling we are same human being, then automatically sense of concern that comes. So I think through education, through personal contact, I think, and further sort of understanding about today's reality, we can develop a sense of oneness of humanity. Now this is the beginning of the 21st century. If we make attempt now, within next few decades, I think the next generation, through such education, could be more peaceful generation. So thinking, you see, more wider perspective. So I never expect, you see, a happier new world will not materialize within my lifetime. No. But we have to make attempt. We have to start some effort or some work. So now here, I always make this distinction, generation of 21st century, a generation of 20th century, including myself, and respect to my elder brothers, sisters here. We belong to 20th century. So our century gone. So we also now gradually ready to say bye-bye. So now those people whose age below 30, 20, you are generation of 21st century. 21st century, just the beginning. So you have the opportunity to enjoy peaceful, happier world. And peace not come from sky, because logically, disturbance of peace, we created. So we have the responsibility to create peace. I am Buddhist. Of course, I accept the usefulness of prayer. But as far as peace is concerned, through prayer, I'm very skeptical. Through prayer to achieve peace. I think even within the family, when the husband, the wife, develop a lot of anger, then that moment, pray to God, anger diminish or not? I don't think. So regarding sort of peace of the world, also you see, we have to make effort, try. This is not easy to achieve. With Tibetan, we have saying, 9-time failure, 9-time re-effort. Since goal is something worthy, just goal, then we have to work. In spite, first time failure, second time failure, doesn't matter. Our goal is right. So we have to we have to make effort consistently. So now here, the important is educate our younger generation. So now here, as I mentioned earlier, ultimate basis of peace is wholeheartedness, taking care about others' well-being and respect others' life. So that's compassion. So irrespective whether believer or non-believer, even any religious people, people who believe atheism, okay, doesn't matter. That's a private business. So long, they're also human beings. So we have to think humanity. In order to create happy world, ultimately, inner peace is very important. Real peaceful society through inner peace. Peace we cannot buy. We cannot build through factory. No. Peace have to build here. So here, the emotion level, the ultimate source of inner peace is compassion, love, affection. And then, in the recent years, some scientists, they actually sort of experimented what human basic nature. I also participated. You see, their method to very, very young infant children. You see, not yet start language. Show some cartoon. The cartoon one cartoon, two young children play together. So affectionately. When the very infant, a few months old, when they saw cartoon, two children play together, showing affection each other, the child responds, smile. Then the cartoon, two children, so a little bit sort of harming each other, negative attitude. But that kind of cartoon show to that children, to the child, oh, show, unhappy. A little bit of distance. So that confirmed basic human nature is more compassionate. Then more important, constant anger, fear, too much stress, very bad for our health. Actually, some scientists say constant anger, fear, actually eating our immune system. Other hand, more compassionate mind really sustain our immune system, some cases even increasing. So that's quite logical. Fear or anger, very much related with fear. Fear, lack of trust. So, when compassionate heart there, sense of concern of others' well-being, then automatically express accordingly. That brings trust from others. That's the basis of inner peace. Too much self-centered attitude and showing some distance to others' way. Then result, you yourself eventually develop lonely feeling. I cannot trust anybody. The other's attitude also then gradually remain more distance, more distance. That is the basis of fear. So fear often develop frustration. Frustration develop anger. So the mental level, the real peace, basis of peace is warm-heartedness. Even healthy body also very much related with that. The other day at Sydney, there was some discussion with some scholars. See, we have sort of same sort of, or say, conviction, or same sort of view. One thing I learned this time, that is, you see, not only mental level, some kind of sense of concern of others' well-being, but actually implement that warm-heartedness translate into action. That more effective to healthy body. So just mentally, this is some sense of concern. It's first level, motivation level. Then implement, actually helping, serving. Then that sort of compassionate mind become much more stronger. So some of the speaker, you see, mentioned that, or that much more effective for our body. So conclusion, the healthy mind is very important for healthy body. So we all, you see, taking care about our health. So therefore, because this body start from our parent, and particularly with our mother's affection, you see, we grown up. So biologically, our body is much more closer with compassionate mind, not with anger. Of course, anger is part of our mind, but dominant sort of mind. I think compassion is right from the beginning till death. Affection is very, very important role in our life. So now modern time, when we are young, all 7 billion, same way born, same way received affection from our parent, particularly from our mother. Then gradually, when we join the society, and also when we get education, then our existing education system is very much oriented about material value. Not much talk about these inner value. I think that's the one factor. The generation who come through that kind of education, then the whole sort of life, more materialistic life, materialistic culture. Then people who are in that kind of culture, and then you see, difficult to find when their mind disturbed. Then you see, only sort of what's the day, because of the resource, right? Only only sort of what's the thing is relying alcohol or drugs like that. So these clearly shows we are lacking knowledge about the system of our emotion. So modern education should include lesson about, usually I call, map of mind, map of emotion. Once you see people get some knowledge, the whole system of emotion, then much easier to tackle these emotions. So therefore, these should be should include in our education academic subject. So I often, you see, discuss these things. So then, when you see this is the sort of reality, then the way to educate about these inner value, particularly compassion, love, forgiveness, these things. If we rely on religious concept, then today's world population, 7 billion, out of 7 billion, over 1 billion non-believer. So they may not pay much attention. If you see things, education about inner value, relying on religious concept, then difficult, will not be, never be universal. So there's no other choice except according Indian tradition. India, 3,000 years history, the concept of secular. According Indian understanding, secular means respect all religion and also respect non-believer. I think that's very realistic, very relevant to this world. In the West, you see people, you see, consider secular means something distance from religion or disrespect religion. I think here, I always say make explanation according Indian understanding. Secular means respect all religion. So that's why modern India's constitution based on secular concept. Certainly this is not at all, you see, distance from religion, but rather respect all religion. India, multi-religious nation. So respect all religions. No preference, this religion or that religion. That's very realistic. So modern India's constitution based on secular concept. So when I say secular, according to that understanding. So therefore, I think there's no other choice except secular way to promote secular ethics through education. So that's number one commitment. as I'm a human being. You all human being, isn't it? I think some of you think not human being. I don't think. We all is a human being, isn't it? So therefore, you see, we are part of the 7 billion human beings. We are social animals. Individual's future very much related with humanity. So from our own interest, we have to think well-being of humanity. So as I mentioned earlier, in order to create, in order to achieve step by step, we, each individual, have this sort of opportunity and responsibility. So firstly, build happy individual, then happy family, then happy community. One family with serious concern about this inner value, then automatically be happier family. Then share with your neighbor. 10 family, 100 family, 1,000 family. That's the community. That's the way to promote. So when we think about humanity, and you should not feel, oh, humanity too big. I'm what small, tiny individual. I cannot do much. Should not think that way. Change on the level of humanity first start from individual. So the individual sort of making effort, that also should not think, oh, in the future I will do something. Should not think that. Today, when you return your home, think seriously. And when you meet someone who usually you get a little irritation, then you should think, oh, that's also a human being. Like that. So then gradually, you see, we can, firstly, we ourselves, you see, become more happier, less suspicion, less distrust. Once you open your mind, your heart, then most cases, the others respond also same way. That's the way to melt it, distrust, distance. Then eventually become a strong sense of same community, happy community. Isn't it? Then second, my commitment, as a Buddhist now, trying to promote religious harmony. Yesterday, I extremely feel great honor to participate in the faith meeting. All major world religious tradition, in spite of different philosophy. And so in the philosophical field, some differences are fundamental differences. But doesn't matter. All carry same message. All these different philosophical views, same purpose, same goal, to promote compassion. And with that, forgiveness and tolerance, contentment, self-discipline. All major religious traditions teach us same advice. So in order to develop firm conviction about this value, then different philosophy, like concept of creator. We all created by God. What's God? Infinite love. So our Father, like infinite love. So we all created by that. So we all have some kind of spark of that creator, infinite love, infinite love. So we all have the seed of compassion or love. Wonderful. Many of my friends, Christian practitioners, wonderful. Really. Because admirable way, like that. Or then, non-theistic religion, such as Jainism and Buddhism and some other, no concept of creator. but rather self-creation. Consider self as a creator, our future created by oneself. So philosophical view, big differences. Then we should ask, what is the purpose of these different philosophies? Then same. The non-theistic religion, such as Buddhism, Jainism, very much emphasis practice of love, forgiveness, as much as the theistic religious tradition. So they're the same purpose. And these different philosophy is relevant among the humanity. Even family, one family member, same family, but mental disposition always differences. So therefore, in the terms of humanity, we need different variety of different approach. It's necessary. So look, what is the purpose of these different sort of philosophy? Then we understand. Yes, too much. Okay. Now, okay. I think finally I may use this. Fortunately, no bad smell. So, okay. Even some smell, this is my own sort of cloth, so no problem. So therefore, you see, we can build genuine harmony among different institutions. So, different philosophy is private business. But our common practice is same, practice of love, forgiveness. And we all, religious people, we all have the responsibility to make a contribution according to your own belief, according to your own experience, to build healthy society, compassionate society. So you, each of you, also, you see, have, I think, some opportunity, you see, to build harmony of different religious traditions. That's very important. Like that. So that's all. Some question, answer.
Perfect. In the middle? I was wondering, as you get prepared, you travel around the world, and you always have this kind of response from an audience. There's 4,000 people here. A lot of them are families. There's believers, non-believers. What is it like to have that response around the world?
And actually, among my best friends, many scientists, many of them non-believer. So that's quite natural.
I'm interested in speaking science with you a little bit later. I know that you have a passion for that, but I'm curious what it was like for you to grow up. What role did perhaps your mother play in your childhood? Amala.
Oh yes, mother, very important role. As I mentioned earlier, we all come from our mother. So we all received maximum affection from our mother. So that is the seed of our compassion. Person who very much appreciate others' affection, basically, that person also have the potential to show affection to others. So in that respect, not only we human beings, but other animals, you see, who grown up under mother's care, all have this sort of biologically sort of level affection, all have. So now we human beings, this special brain, immense sort of ability to think, to analyze. So with help of our intelligence, we have the sort of ability to, let's say, to strengthen, to increase our love. Biological level, our love only towards our own friend. That very much related with, that very much oriented about their attitude. So-called enemy, negative attitude towards you, we cannot extend our love. But use human intelligence. Enemy, also part of humanity, part of my neighbor. Usually our enemy only among our sort of neighbor who knows each other. Unknown people, difficult to develop anger. Only among our kasota, neighbors. So therefore, you see, your own happy life, happy family, very much related with these neighbors. I have some story. You know, in India, some my Indian friend, as he told me, the suicide case in city, big number. In village, much less. Why? In the village, you see still the sense of neighbor. This is my neighbor, this is my neighbor. So sense of community more alive. So when some difficulties experiences, then, I can ask my neighbor like that. In big city, everybody, their daily life, very busy. And I think like Japanese, when we met one stranger, go that. That's all. So not much sort of human interaction. So therefore, when people who are in big city, some problems start, then they have the feeling lonely, no helper. So then suicide takes place. So therefore, you see, human affection, sense of community is very essential. So we, biologically, you see, we have, that potential. Now use human intelligence. Then my neighbor, although his or her attitude towards me, not very pleasant, but still our neighbor.
That's right.
So sooner or later, I have to sort of rely on them. So keep these things, then that we human being can do, other animals cannot. So therefore, that is the second level of love or compassion. Irrespective what is their attitude, but they are part of humanity, part of my neighbor. So I have to give genuine love to them. So first level of love is biased. Second love is unbiased. That's much, much stronger. We can do that. Yes?
Holiness, you left your parents' home when you were 4, little tiny boy, and I believe your mother made you treats on the weekends when you went to stay with her.
So our mother, very, very compassionate mother. I often used to tell him, my mother sort of, I think almost infinite love. It was, I think her neighbor also. Her, then of course, no question, her children. Sometimes, and particularly me, I think sometimes I feel I spoiled too much my affection from my mother. So as a villager, farmer, nothing to play. Of course, no television. So usually my mother, when she working in farm, she always carried me on her sort of shoulder. I also feel very happy. And then I become bolder, so hold my mother's ear when I want to go this side. This side.
Steering you.
Like this?
When mother, you see, not listen,
Yeah.
my guidance, then I shout. Give some punishment to my mother.
I like this. I thought you had a very humble upbringing, and I've seen pictures of your home, but you travel so much throughout the world. Where is home? Like, where do you feel at home, and where your place is, your home?
Kasa, home. Oh, there is a Tibetan saying, the place where you feel happy, and also, you see, you have the opportunity to utilize your own, your own work or your own usefulness. That's your home. And whoever who gives you smile, affection, that's your parent. It's quite good, isn't it? Now, especially when we become refugee, that advice is very useful.
Your Holiness, the world has changed quite significantly, and in your upbringing, you said no television, very little contact for the outside world. You've obviously seen the world develop, the world modernize. How have you kept up to date with the changes in the world?
Of course, since my childhood, I think I must confess, when I was young, of course, it is compulsory, carry study. So I'm a very, very lazy student. No interest for study. Instead of studying these texts, philosophical texts, I found pictorial books. I found read, look. Although I cannot, at that time, so I cannot read properly.
Okay.
But still, I have interest to look at different pictorial books. So then, the outside world, quite familiar in my mind. Basically like that. So then, when I come to India, firstly, I think when I come to India, 1956, then because of information or pictures I already saw, so quite familiar. Then 1973, went to Europe and several countries. Then 79, Soviet Union, and then America. So it's quite familiar, not much problem. Then after all, you see the conviction, we are same human being. That really makes differences. If you too much emphasis, we and they, then some distance. If we consider we are same, then immediately come closer. That's very important.
Do you think the best days of the world are behind us, or the best days of the world are still to come?
Also, I think past, for example, past century inspired great achievements in that century, 20th century. But I think that century more or less become century of bloodshed.
Okay.
So, although you see some pockets, some violence here and there at the beginning of the 21st century, I think overall picture, I think a desire for peace especially including scientists. There's many scientists now really sort of, what should they consider importance of our inner value. And then, I think previously, among the politicians' sort of speech, I think word of compassion is a no seat there. Eventually, now more and more politicians sort of statement also now use the word compassion. Now things are changing, things are changing. Then non-violence. When Gandhiji sort of say, carry non-violent struggle, ahimsa, non-violence, then I think many people, mainly from the West, consider that a sign of weakness. Eventually, I think that concept changed. And Nelson Mandela, his previous in the early period, he also a little bit of violent sort of thinking. Then later, he completely followed Mahatma Gandhi's non-violent sort of principle. Then also, look, Luther King. Luther King. Although I never met Luther King, when I visited America, he no longer there, but I know I met Vito, his wife, and some his children. So one time, the Luther King's sort of wife, she told me one story. The Luther King so much attracted towards Mahatma Gandhi. So he even wanted to dress Mahatma Gandhi's dress. So then, when I heard that, I felt I got some kind of image Luther King like Mahatma Gandhi's dress, like Indian beggar. I cannot think sorry, like that. So that means he's so much attracted to us, Mahatma Gandhi's, not only sort of the political or freedom struggle sort of as a pattern, non-violence, but also you see his personal sort of life. I think he very much attracted like that. So then, although not very successful, not very effective, but Palestine leader and Kasadi, Jewish leader, Kasadi, now I forget, you see, got Nobel Peace Prize together, like that. So now Mahatma Gandhi's sort of non-violent sort of movement, I think many people really, whether they truly believe or not, you see, quite often, you see, they refer Mahatma Gandhi's non-violent sort of as a struggle. So that's human way of approach. Any problem which essentially created by human being, there's a human problem. Any human problem must solve through human way of approach. That's strong dialogue with spirit of reconciliation. No matter how serious differences, but basically still part of humanity, we have to live together, we have to share each other. Like that. So, share. So I think, and then look, I often receive mentioning 1996, I had the opportunity, one audience of Queen Mother, or late Queen Mother of England. When I met her, since at that year, her own sort of age, 96. So I asked her, since you observed almost whole the century, so humanity or world become better or same or worse? Without hesitation, she responded, better. When she was young, nobody talked about human right or right of self-determination. Nowadays, these concepts become universal, she told me. Then another sort of story. One German physicist, quantum physicist, late von Weizsäcker. Actually, I consider my tutor. I learned about quantum physics, von Weizsäcker, as well as
David Bohm.
Oh, David Bohm, yes. These two I consider as my teacher, quantum physics. So in 90s, one occasion, von Weizsäcker told me when he was young, every German eye, French is their enemy. Similarly, in French eye, German is their enemy. Now that completely changed.
Absolutely.
So, world, I feel, early part of 20th century, the later part of 20th century, I think much positive things develop. So, this 21st century, continuation of that century. So I think a desire for peace, I think decade by decade growing. When Iraq crisis about to happen, millions of people demonstrate against war. In early part of 20th century, when nation declare war on their neighbor, on their enemy, every citizen of the nation voluntarily, happily joined war effort. I think during First World War, Second World War, Australians and the New Zealanders, as a British soldier, used to join proudly, I think. Like that. So now the thinking, I think human beings thinking, I think changing, I think much changing. In the previous, I think early part of 20th century, people feel science and spirituality is something completely different road. With help of quantum physics and some others, now these two things, two concepts, have come closer. And then also religious harmony. In the past, you see, each religion very much emphasis concept of one truth, one religion. Now that changing. Like I usually call Polish Pope.
John Paul II.
Pope John Paul II. No? When he started Assisi meeting, so the concept of pluralism among religions, you see, start. These things shows, you see, we human beings becoming more realistic, more mature as a result of wider contact with each other. Previously, each nation, each community, more or less remained isolated. So very little contact.
So there is hope for humanity. We see that the best years could be in the future. What's exciting for you about the world? Is it the new technology? Is it the embrace of humanity for each other through compassion? What is it about the world that you'd look forward to in the future?
I think technology, I think very helpful, basically very helpful to know each other and to know the reality. So then, I think in the 60s, 70s, for example, 73, my first visit Europe, Italy, Swiss, and I think then England, and I think a few more, I think, country. I think people showing some interest about these secular ethics, these things. I think much less. Now 80s, 90s, 2000, more and more people really showing. And among the scientists, more and more scientists now really show us because of the recognition, importance of our inner value, inner peace. I think these through education. I think we get more and more deeper knowledge about human nature or humanity. So I feel future, as I mentioned in my own talk, if we make attempt with clear vision, I think this 21st century can be peaceful, not only just this century peaceful, but the future century, 22nd century, 23rd century. I think if we build this century more peaceful through education, through awareness, then I think the future century will follow that. That's my view.
Your Holiness, is education...
Then global warming is beyond our control. Difficult.
Okay. With education without ethics, does it just become indoctrination? Is that what it is? What type of education do we need for the future?
Educate reality. Not talking about heaven or hell or the Buddhahood. No, not talking these things.
No.
Simply how to build happy humanity, happy world. So this nothing to do with kasota dogmas or right. What do you mean?
So I think there's a problem with the education that we have, that there's not enough ethics. The children aren't taught this, and
Yes.
this is a human quality that we need, we need around the world.
Yes.
And I feel as though if you have an education without ethics, you're just being
Without?
told without, it's indoctrination.
Or sometimes
I
Australian
think we're
accent.
agreeing.
Yes. Without, okay. Okay. Yes, without sort of ethics or whatever you call ethics, ethics should not consider something based on holy or something. No. Here ethics means, you see, any action which brings happiness. Ultimately, I think virtues, non-virtues, based on our feeling of joyfulness and sadness. Anything, any action which brings sadness is non-virtue. Anything brings joyfulness. That's right. So we can ask animal, giving food and give some affection. They feel happy. Nothing to do with religion, nothing to do with faith. So those actions or attitude which they feel happy, it is moral. Any sort of attitude This brings fear on the animal. That is non-virtue. I feel like that. So ethics should be in that sense. Any action which brings joyfulness, happiness, and happiness, joyfulness, very much related with peace. Killing, anger, destroy that. So anger, violence is non-virtues, right? No sorrow. Compassion, helping each other, share each other, that's virtues. So we should not sort of take these virtues in the contents of or religious sort of matter, like that. So that's meaning of secular.
We have a number of questions that have come from around Australia, and people want to know things. So we're going to link some of these. So we'll start over with Michelle. And I apologise to everyone over here for turning my back as well, but hopefully we answer some of your questions.
All right. This one's from Marissa from the Sunshine Coast, Your Holiness, and she has this lady called Marissa. I think she's in the room. Love. It's a very common question, yes? We're asked by the Buddhist philosophy to love without attachment. How do we do that? I love you, Your Holiness, but I think I'm attached to you as well. How can I fix it?
You know, I think true, unbiased love is love towards your enemy. Not foolish way. You accept, you recognize that person really creates a lot of problem for me. So clearly understand that's enemy. They're still human being. So respect them. Keep serious concern of their well-being. That is genuine love. So attachment, of course, you see, according the Oxford Dictionary, I don't know, very sort of precise meaning, I don't know. But usually, you see, I use the attachment means some kind of biased love and very much oriented about others' attitude. So someone who nice to you, then develop some kind of love, but very much mixed with attachment.
Sonia,
So I think parents love towards children, like other animal also. That's very much mixed with attachment.
Sonia from Brisbane asked a similar
I
thing.
think one difference is the attachment or love mixed with attachment, slightest sort of, because of the attitude, immediately change your love. The other love, unbiased love, no matter what their attitude, you can still give love. So the second love, mainly through training, through reasoning. The first one, mainly biological factor. Clear?
When you talk about, and this is from Sonia from Brisbane, when you talk about compassion, kindness, and open-heartedness, you often mention the heart. She's confused in regards to how we use mind and heart, and if they are the same thing.
그래서 hard. Right. Oh. When I use the word warm-heartedness or heart, I simply learned from English word. I don't know exactly. So heart certainly you should not refer, you should did this bumping, dog, not that. Usually you see, I think mind mainly related with brain. Heart means something warmed. According to my understanding, like that. So I use the word, I use, also some other people would say, education for heart, or warm-heartedness, like that. But if you emphasize more, more subtle level explanation, then my answer will be, I don't know.
Your Holiness, when we think of science, a lot of people, we learn science, this is what we learn at school, and we see it sitting here. And often we see religion sitting there. But my understanding is you see that there's a mix between religion and science. Can you explain it, please?
But, you know, the one I usually call the Polish Pope, and then the German Pope. He's still alive. I had one audience with him. So he is used to say, reasons and faith should go together. So that means faith, of course, religion. The reason very much related with science, investigate, the knowledge of reality. So it is true. I think religion, I think two kind of faith, I think there can be two levels. Some just to say faith, because my family follow this religion, that religion, and I follow. Not much sort of investigation. Another, you see, difficult life. Then think about the concept of God or these things. Then, you see, bring some inner peace. So that faith through reasoning. So then, as I mentioned earlier, Buddhism and as well as Jainism, and another very, very ancient Indian tradition, that is Sankhyaism. These three, you see, no concept of God, creator. So for example, Buddhism, Buddha stated, "O my follower, monks, scholars, should not accept my teaching out of faith, out of devotion, but through thorough investigation and experiment." So it is quite clear. You use reason, investigation, and faith together. So I think the faith should have some relation our day-to-day life when we're facing some problem which beyond our control or our means or our control. Then faith keeps hope. Faith gives you some kind of still optimism. Without faith, things become beyond your control. Then truly hopeless. Then finally, or mad, or suicide. So our life problem bound to happen. So when we face a problem which we cannot overcome by our own means, then faith keeps hope. So quite useful. Then there is a different faith, as I mentioned earlier, like that.
With science and with this area, is it is it quantum physics that you're interested, or is it a different type of science?
Kosa. Oh yes, of course. The over 30 years, I have sort of serious sort of dialogue or interactions with scientists, mainly four fields: cosmology, neurobiology. So they have very detailed knowledge about the function of the brain and very small particles in the brain. What do you call just do? So really wonderful. And it's a certain, certain part of brain. They have a different name. And I think here, what we call mandala or something.
Amidala.
So that is usually, you see, related with emotions. So these are really useful to learn. And to me, a person who also sort of study about Buddhist psychology and science of mind. So, you see, the relation, movement in certain part of brain and different emotions. Really very, very interesting. Very interesting. So that's biology, neurobiology, then physics, including quantum physics, then psychology. So after 30 years of series of discussion, we found mutual benefit to scientists, knowledge about emotions and the system of emotion. They found very, very useful, which information from ancient Indian psychology, including Buddhist psychology. They really find very useful. Then to us, the cosmology, all these, like Big Bang theory, or whole galaxies, millions of limitless galaxies, how it form and disappear. It's very, very useful. And of course, neurobiology, very helpful to us. So mutual benefit. Therefore, now in our bigger monastic institution, now we formally decided should include one lesson, should be science. So last now almost 10 years, firstly selected student getting science lesson. Now formally decided the final examination, they are study according to their individual individual choice, including science subject, like that. So it is very, very helpful. So 4 fields. And the quantum physics, very similar. One, my Indian friend, Rajaramana, a nuclear physicist. Now he no longer. I think more than 10 years. One occasion in Delhi, on our meeting, he mentioned he found the concept of quantum physics in one text wrote by one great Indian, also the philosopher, second, third century. The concept of quantum physics already there. Then he told me, he as an Indian, so he feels very proud very proud. The quantum physics, that concept in the world, something new. But in India, 2,000 years ago, already found is that concept. He told me. So then I also have some sort of discussion with the quantum physicist. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. So as a matter of fact, coming November, we will have one conference, especially about quantum physics and Buddhist philosophy and quantum physics sort of view. Some discussion. So I'm looking forward to that.
Holiness, can we just move over here, please, to a lady
What?
called Marlena, who you have met a couple of times. She's been here for the teachings. She's in the wheelchair over here.
Correct.
She would like to ask you a question, okay?
Yes.
Hello, Your Holiness. My name is Melina.
Oh.
My question to you is for the many of those fighting on behalf of those suffering. How do those that fight on behalf of others maintain their ability to be compassionate and I suppose their own dignity to those that may be continuing to unnecessarily cause this suffering? And I suppose their own dignity to those that may be
Actually,
My question to you is for the many of those fighting on behalf of those suffering. How do those that fight on behalf of others maintain their ability to be compassionate and I suppose their own dignity to those that may be continuing to unnecessarily cause this suffering?
Here, the sense of concern of others' well-being. Now suffering, there are three levels of suffering. One level of suffering, that's obvious, pains, and including handicapped. Now these are first level of suffering. The second level of suffering, actually we are seeking worldly life, some kind of pleasant or satisfaction from seeing nice things, hearing music, good smell, good taste, good touch, including sex. Now these actually suffering nature. So that's second level of suffering. Third level of suffering is life which dominant by ignorance, by destructive emotion. That's third level of suffering. So basically, entire 7 billion human beings, you see, having that kind of suffering. Then you see people who really, you see, satisfy or sensory level of satisfaction, and they sort of satisfy that kind of life. It's actually miserable life, source of problem. So it's a different level. Then obviously, the first level, suffering of suffering. Then, you see, that's, I think, even animal. One wounded animal, other animal licking, they realize the suffering of suffering. So they show some sort of affection. Again, you see some scientists, they experimented. 2 mice, same injury. Then one mice with injury with another mice, other just alone. So the mice which have companion, another mice, often receive licking from that mice. So the recovery, the mice who have often sort of experiencing licking another mice, much faster recover, because they mentally, emotionally receive affection. Same injury, but you see, the mental work really makes differences. So, even animal, like elephant or some other animal, when they are companion, some sick or some kind of sort of injury, their companion, or sometimes you see, stand there and showing some kind of grievance. So you see, they depend on the level of understanding. That's the first level of suffering, second level of suffering, third level of suffering. So you can easily, extend, you see, thinking the second level of suffering. So I think one way, you see, it can say the handicapped people, I think, less opportunity to spoil. Healthy body easily spoiled. Isn't it? So like the thinking is this line, then you feel, you see, some kind of consolation, like that. And then one great practitioner, you see, mentioned, expressed, when you received some criticism, some other people, then think, he not beat me, okay, criticism, okay, just a word. Then someone beat you, hit you, then you should think, he not killed me, very good, just a beat, okay. So things are relative. And
But
our
Holiness,
emotion.
Holiness, when someone is what we think of as a bad person, they hurt animals, they hurt people, is it then up to us to concentrate on the fact that they are suffering and manifest compassion for them because of that? Is that what we have to do?
That's right. You see, those sort of cruel sort of people, or people who committed mercilessly sort of killing other people. Like now things are now happening. So you should, there's plenty of reason to feel concern. They want a happy life. And obviously, they want good name, good name is always. Good image. Then there are sort of activities actually very, very harmful. Their sort of image or their their name, like that. Then, due to short-sightedness, too much emotion, so they actually become slave of destructive emotion and ultimately slave of ignorance. So already they suffer out of these tremendous sort of strong negative emotion. In their mind, no longer any peace of mind. Then not only that, in future, they're committing very negative action. So they have to face negative consequences for long run. So sufficient reason to feel concern.
This is a question from Wayne from Scone. He had a double lung transplant 3.5 years ago.
Double what?
A double lung transplant 3.5 years ago, and I wish to know, is it good karma for my donor and other people to donate, or is it one body, one life? He had a difficult time coming to terms with the death of his donor. What are your thoughts?
수종래, 당사자. So, yes, certainly, there are many sort of stories as far as Buddhism is concerned. many stories of a great practitioner, including the one of previous life, or many previous lives of Buddha Shakyamuni. He often used to giving his organ to other people. So, of course, we consider that's very good, provided sort of good motivation, and very good. And talk about. So sometimes people ask me at the time of death, you see, the will, any of my organ is used to some patient, I'm willing to give. That's very good. One Tibetan master, my teacher's generation, wonderful sort of a scholar as well as a practitioner. At the end of his life, he told his friend, usually you see, sometimes with Tibetan, some great teachers like that, like him, usually used to be burnt. So then he asked his sort of friend, my body should not burn. Then useless, wasted. So my body give as a vulture at least one meal, those vultures. Although I imagine, you see, his body quite thin. So vulture may not much sort of kasoda festival. But still, so some flesh there. So therefore, you see, he sort of asked his sort of friend, my body should make sort of available to some of these vultures, like that. And then one organ, something, if something useful to another person, wonderful. Wonderful.
And understanding this with reincarnation, there's two questions here. One's from Derek, and it's how do I logically confirm that reincarnation is a real phenomena? And also with reincarnation, this is from Ralph from Ocean Shores. And I think this question will relate to what you were just talking about. But Buddhism teaches us that there is no independently existing self or soul. So what is it exactly that's being reincarnated?
I think this morning and also yesterday, I think several times repeated. You see, when we talk about selflessness, does not mean no self. So self is there. So self designated on a combination of body and mind. Body and mind also, there are three levels: grosser level, more subtle level, most subtle level. So grosser level and more subtle level, body and mind, from time to time change. The subtle level of body and mind, no beginning, no end. So then self, designated on a combination of subtle body and subtle mind, no beginning, no end. Go like that. So, but here, the reason, like Dharmakirti is mentioned, any phenomena which is momentarily changing, there must be causes. In the cause, substantial cause and cooperative cause. two types, like this flower. Substantial cause come from its seed. Seed come from previous flower, like that. So go like that. That's substantial cause. The cooperative cause, water, soil, and certain temperature, these are cooperative causes. So our mind, obviously, momentarily changing. So that shows there is causes. And causes, again, substantial cause, cooperative cause. Cooperative cause, for example, eye consciousness, eye organ is the cooperative causes. Now, substantial cause is similar nature. The flowers, the substantial cause, previous flower, like that. So similarly, substantial cause of consciousness must be consciousness. So at the time of conception, consciousness there. So that consciousness substantial cause is previous consciousness. So that, we thinking that line. If that first consciousness without substantial cause, then we have to accept consciousness come from non-consciousness. Then it goes similar, matters come from non-matter. Impossible. So that's the argument or reason like that. So therefore, continuation of consciousness. This present consciousness come from previous consciousness. At the time of death, there is no cause against existence of consciousness. So therefore, the ignorance, there is sort of counterforce. That's wisdom. So consciousness, no counterforce. So therefore, consciousness, any phenomena which no counterforce will always remain. So consciousness remain. Okay.
I swear I was
Some
tattooed in a
sense?
previous
Huh?
life, Holiness. I think I was tattooed in a previous life. I just feel like I need them back on me. Do you think that's possible?
Karsa. Karsa. What?
Translation.
You didn't listen about the part about the body.
No, I think it's in my consciousness and I need them again. It's like I remember them and I want them back. Do you think?
This is man-made,
Man-made,
not
yeah.
from birth.
No?
Not from birthmark.
I was so sure. We've just about run out of time with you, Holiness.
Yes.
You're going off to
now
Uluru.
I have to go.
You have to go. You're off to Uluru.
Oh, yes.
How exciting. You've never seen that. You've never been there
This is
before.
first time.
First time. It's very
My
beautiful.
previous visit, aeroplane, I saw is that rock.
Yeah.
So then I very much sort of want to go there.
Yeah.
So the organizer, now they arranged this time.
I remember because that plane wasn't supposed to go past Uluru. It just went because you wanted to see it. And everyone in Darwin was like, where is this plane?
Yes, that also one cause for that development. And I think that desire, substantial cause is a previous desire. The cooperative cause, aeroplane used to go that way. Like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, please thank Ian Thorpe and His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.